There we go. We heard Rob's phone go off, so we know.
That's right. The maracas are going, so we're alive now.
Indeed.
We're cooking with gas.
Well, soon, yes. All right, everyone. It's the Masculine Geek Random Sunday Rogue broadcast. Whether you like it or not, we figured we'd do one. Just for shits and giggles, maybe an hour and a half. Nothing too long. We all have shit to do, but we're taking a break from that to sit down and talk and be mildly entertaining. So,
or mildly annoying.
Or that's both. True. It could be. It could be. What the fuck is this? Okay. A couple work emails. So how you guys doing?
All right.
Doing all right.
Good. How was your hike today, TJ? Or yesterday?
Well, my hike had to be. It was not postponed. Prematurely ended because of the snow. There was a ton of snow.
That's right. The pictures did show that. Yeah. Was it? It wasn't cold though, right?
Oh, it was cold. It was cold. It wasn't snowing. It's just that area doesn't see a lot of sun or heat.
What's the elevation?
It's at Stevens Pass. I don't know how high it is, but it's just that area tends to be cold and it doesn't get a lot of sunlight. So areas that don't get sunlight, it'll stay there for a long time. I just didn't realize that when I went on the hike.
Well, let me ask you this, because I saw the picture of the snow and I saw the picture of Reese. And did Reese go and lay down once you got him home and go to sleep and pretty much die? Because he looked exhausted.
He had the tongue out and everything, yeah.
I dropped him off at his owner's house afterwards, so
you did basically the opposite of what any good aunt, uncle, grandparent would do with somebody's child. They pump them up full of sugar and then send them home. You did the opposite. You're like, I'm going to take him out and wear that poor boy down. And then he went home and just probably collapsed by the look of him.
Yeah, he's getting older. He's 10 years old. And so, and we probably went, I'd say 4 miles, maybe. So not very far. It was a 7-mile hike, but we just didn't end up making it. It was too dangerous. Both of us fell through. They weren't deep holes, but we fell through holes in the snow.
Oh shit!
So I was just like, yeah. We got to a point where I could see beneath the snow, there was this curved arch, and underneath it was completely a huge gap, and we were supposed to walk over it. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Now I'm not bringing
some kind of crevasse.
I'm not bringing Reese's body back to his owner to explain what happened.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I killed your dog.
Killed your fucking dog.
And she's not. She's very, for example, one time I had, just to give you an idea of who we're dealing with, there was some very non-important. I can't remember what it was, a plastic yogurt can that she used for feeding the dog. But she was very particular about this yogurt container, getting it back or whatever. So it's if she's that particular about this plastic yogurt container being brought back, then
she's gonna lose her shit if you hurt her.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to bring back a dead dog or even a wounded dog.
Probably not a good idea.
Some people have said I'm overly protective or I'm overly controlling of the dog and all that kind of stuff. It's I'd rather err on the side of I brought him back alive without any wounds.
You brought him back as you found him, basically.
or what little I could find of him. So
yeah, but you brought him back the way you found him. You left him the way you found him. Basically, he had all 4 paws, he had a tail, and he had a tongue when you took possession. And you want to make sure that's what you have when you come back.
Yeah, and he's also a purebred golden retriever, so replacing him would be expensive. I might as well go out and buy a brand new bike or something like that. That kind of thing.
But does she know he's a purebred?
Yes. So there was like I don't know if they're dog farms or whatever, but he was bred on a farm. He was part of the breeding program, and the owner gave him to his daughter. The daughter gave him to his current owner because she couldn't keep him anymore.
Mm.
And the one problem is he's not the most well. Like, I'm getting to understand him better. It's been a couple of years, but he's not the most well trained or disciplined dog. Like, you can teach him stuff, but I think he just got to the point where he's just like, yeah, unless I'm going to be denied food, I'm really not going to listen on some stuff, which makes it a little tricky, especially when we're going over crevasses or areas where it's a little dangerous. And like, I know if he keeps going, he's going to fall and slip off the side. And it's like, I got to be able to, and he loves going into water, right? We got some pretty strong currents on the Wenatchee River. I don't want him like getting into the water and then being taken down current, like,
Yeah.
he's going to have a fun,
that would suck.
Yeah, he's going to have a fun time doing that. So, I mean, yeah, we had a fun time. I got some good food from the local area and got some good photos and did the best that I could. I did another hike, but it's the same ridge I've done 1,000 times. I just do it for exercise now. But I get really frustrated where in my area, there's a very small window for going on hikes for certain mountains and areas because by the time the snow melts, it's 95 degrees outside in August. And so you got that. Really, it's like September is the time to go hiking. If you don't go hiking during September, there's a lot of places you're not going to get it. And if it snows early, then you're in even bigger trouble.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So all your major hiking is done in September?
Well, I do hiking year round for the most part, or snowshoeing, but certain mountains, if you want to go on them, you got a small window.
Gotcha. And also decide whether or not you're going to take Reese with you.
Well, if they're a small hike, I'll take Reese, but anything big. And the other problem, like on Icicle Ridge today, there's so many people with dogs, and they're the little yapper dogs.
The shake and piss dog?
I call them the football dogs. The one
punt.
Punt dogs. And so he actually ignores them, but they do not leave him alone. So he just pretends like they don't exist. It's just kind of funny.
That's kind of good though. He's not going nuts over the other dogs.
He'll go nuts if it's a dog his size.
Really?
Yeah. Like he'll want to go up to him and, do the whole sniff thing, which is really, really weird. But, like
Gotcha.
I'm glad humans don't do that, right?
That'd be weird. Yeah. It's just, well.
Like I already think it's weird for the European guys and gals to like go up and kiss each other when they don't even know each other or something like that. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's a very huge cultural difference between what we do and what Japanese do, and I guess it's Greek and Italian.
Those Mediterranean folk.
Those bastards.
Yeah. Seriously.
Rob disappeared. Rob must be.
He's doing his daily
prostate check.
Yeah.
He's doing it early. It's like right out of the gate. It hasn't even been 15 minutes. That's funny. Now, when you take Reese hiking, do you put like a little pack on him? One of those saddle pack things?
No, I don't.
That'd be kind of cool. Make him work. Make him carry his shit.
He doesn't carry anything. I don't bring anything for him except maybe like a treat.
You don't bring like a water or something for him?
I only I bring water. Like I bring water for myself and for him out of the same canteen.
He gets thirsty, I'm sure.
Not really. I took him on that hike. I filled the whole little thing.
That's why he's fucking dead on the ride home.
I tried to give him water. He wouldn't take it. It's like, fine, you don't want water?
Well, maybe out of a canteen he's not going to drink it, but you get one of those little. Have you tried those collapsible bowls?
Yeah, I put it into a saucepan, and
he didn't like it. All right.
No, but there was
very picky.
Well, the other thing is there was waterfalls and streams and creeks and stuff everywhere in that area.
Gotcha.
So if he was thirsty, he drank his fill.
Okay. Welcome everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Carl, no one wants to know that you're in a hot tub. That's just wrong on a variety of levels.
Oh, what?
Well, apparently Carl must be on his phone or something. He's saying that he's in a hot tub.
Oh.
So no one wants to know that you're half naked in a hot tub. That we don't need that image.
Or he might be naked, just pure up straight soaking his balls too.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't. You got a touch of the epididymitis. You got to soak your nuts.
Joy.
So we don't need to know any of that shit. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad you're out of the hot tub. That's good.
Now
Put on
he's
some
just streaking through the neighborhood.
Seriously, don't step on anything weird. Put some fucking clothes on, you fucker.
Amos, Bull Rush,
Amos,
All Pro.
Skelton's here.
Yeah.
All Pro. Half naked Carl.
Or 3/4 naked or fully naked. We
Or
got
whatever.
Streaking Carl.
Streaking Carl. Jesus Christ. It degenerated fast. It only took what 14 minutes and 7 seconds.
If that. Yeah.
Nice. I'm of two minds of hot tubs. A personal one, yeah, because you're in control of the cleanliness, as it were. But when you get an Airbnb, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not going to go to this Airbnb because they have a hot tub, but I don't know. It depends on my mood and what woman I'm with, what girl I brought with me. So, and then you get your mind can wander in an obsessive paranoid sense. You're like, when did they clean this? The fucking skin and shit, and who was doing what in here, and how many people fucked and jacked off in here. It's just like, yeah, you don't even want to know.
Well, and one of the things I can give a little bit of information. When I was growing up,
Go ahead.
yeah, Carl had to get out. The people were coming home. No shit.
Well,
there is always that possibility too. There's always that possibility too. But when I was growing up, my parents had a swimming pool in their backyard, and it was one of those in the ground, Olympic size swimming pools. Had the deep end, the shallow end, the whole 9 yards.
Cool.
And I remember. I mean, was it fun as a kid? Yeah, it was fun as a kid. I was Mr. Popular because we were the only family that had a pool. So all the neighborhood kids wanted to come over.
You could have made some mad money. Shit.
Who's to say I didn't? Okay. Trust me, there was always an admission price to use the pool. Nobody swam for free.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, as I got older and Dad, before my parents got divorced, decided, okay, I'm going to teach you how to clean the pool. And so that became one of my jobs. And cleaning a pool, now granted, a hot tub's a bit smaller, but you still got to put chemicals in it, chlorinate it, shit like that. You still got to skim the crap out of it, the bugs and whatever else, unless your hot tub's inside your house or whatever. But you still got to skim the dead bugs, the dead rats, whatever else comes along, because we had all kinds of shit show up in the pool. And it was a fucking headache after a while for the amount of use that it actually got. My parents ended up burying the pool. It's still in their backyard, but they shut it down, drained it. Because they were talking about tearing it out because they had it installed back in like 1980. And the cost to have it taken out and the hassle was more expensive than it would have been worth, because my dad had a few guys that were like, hey, I want your pool if you're getting rid of it, And my dad looked into what's it going to take to get it out, because they'd have to rent a crane, all kinds of shit. And everyone's like, I'm not paying for that. And my dad's like, well, fuck, neither am I. So I'll just bury it. And so that's exactly what he did. He brought in a dump truck of fill and covered that son of a bitch up and tore out the cement and laid down sod. And now we have a backyard.
Nice.
Yeah, the pool's still there, but it's buried. It's totally gone. Yeah. But it was a big headache, and it was expensive to maintain it. the chemicals to heat it, all that stuff, to everything involved. That for me, I look at it and I think, you guys are talking about hot tubs, and I'm thinking, yeah, I've been in them too. And yeah, I've done all the stuff that Vince, that you're alluding to, as far as I don't, do you want to be involved in any of that shit? No. But I wouldn't want one for the cost of maintenance to keep them going and all that. Even if you were using it daily, after a while, the newness wears off. And the next thing you know, you got this very expensive piece of furniture that you have to maintain. Or you have to spend money to get rid of it once you spent money to get it.
If you want to try out and say, hey, I'm going to see if I'm going to like a hot tub over an extended period of time, buy one of the inflatable ones that are actually have the really decent quality. Set it up, try it out, and like, this isn't bad. And then if you want one permanently, or keep that, shit. But fuck it. Thousands upon thousands of dollars for something something you may or may not use in the long run.
Right. And, like I said, we used the swimming pool a lot the first, 5 or 6 years that we had it. But then after that, it got to a point that we were using it 2, maybe 3 times a year later on. But they're spending all the money to maintain that pool. And that's where my dad was finally like, look, we're not using this thing. And it was Mom who was, I don't want to get rid of it. And he's like, well, then you clean the fucker. You pay for the maintenance. You do all the work. You pay for the chemicals and all that shit, because he became, the pool boy. And, and she kind of whined about that. And that's when he just finally is like, no, I'm done. I'm done fucking around with this thing. Mm. And so he buried it. And, and I look at that and I think, yeah, I wouldn't have a pool of my own. I would rather, I guess, take my chances in a facility that, hey, if I can smell the chlorine, then I know at least it's chlorinated. That it's like, we're pretty clean. It's clean enough. Don't be drinking it. Obviously, if it's a public pool, the kids have already pissed in it, but get over it. It's the way it is. But I wouldn't do it. It's like, no, that would be one of the last things. A pool or a hot tub. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't buy one myself. It's like, now everyone I knew that had one, you fucked a girl in it once or twice. You sat out there and you got drunk in it once or twice. And then after that, you never used it again, at least. And that's the people I know that had them. That's kind of what they did. And it's like, okay, so you're spending a lot of money to maintain something you're never using. Mm-hmm. That becomes a money pit after a while, because shit breaks and you have to replace pumps and you have to replace heating elements or whatever, or if you're using natural gas, good God, your fucking gas bill is going to be outrageous. Ask me how I know. Mm-hmm. And it's like, nah, I would rather, if I'm going to do something like that, I'd rather seriously buy a boat and be like, fuck it. I'll go put that in the water. I'll go out on the lake or go out on the ocean or something.
Yeah. A friend of mine used to have a houseboat that he lived on. He's like, never again. It's like, just the docking fees alone were just killing him.
Yeah, I can imagine
that, and if
fuel.
I mean, not so much for a houseboat, obviously, but still, the fuel for a regular boat is just. A friend of mine in the apartment complex here has one. He's like, it just sits in his driveway in his house in Delaware. He's like, it's just too fucking expensive.
And even my dad did that too. He had a boat when I was a kid. Guess what? He sold and got rid of a few years later because of the very thing you're talking about. He very seldom used it. And when he did, it cost him an ass and an arm. Mm-hmm. And he's like, fuck this.
Cheaper to rent than to buy.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Boats. What are the other ones? Planes. Even like cabins. Like you have your own cabin in the woods. Yeah, it's cheaper to rent than to buy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Hell, even when I go kayaking, I don't own a kayak.
Yep.
I rent them. Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, that's the advantage of like hiking as a hobby. You own it. You don't go rent hiking boots. You just wear your own hiking boots, and you get your bag. Like, you don't need. That's what I do like about my hobbies. They're just so low maintenance and low costs. Like my cost for going hiking is driving 10 miles. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't have to invest a lot of money. Like imagine if you did snowmobiling or
Oh, that's another one that my dad used to own a couple of sleds. Guess what he sold?
his sleds.
This,
Right, because they did it once or twice a winter, if that, and that shit got expensive. It's like a lot of your recreational vehicle stuff. It's cheaper to rent. It really is. Same with RVs, motorhomes, that kind of things. Like, don't buy them either. Unless you're literally going to live in the son of a bitch. Otherwise, don't bother.
Well, even then, when they say if you're saying you're going to live in a motorhome, just understand this: you buy it. When you sell it, you're going to get nothing.
Yeah, it's not going to appreciate in value.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
you're basically just throwing a huge chunk of money. Like you're better off, they talk about motorhomes and all that stuff. You're better off buying either one of those camper vans or something that you can put onto a pickup truck. Like that's what you're better off with, because if you're tired of the camper, you just take it off your truck and you can still use your truck for other purposes. But with a motorhome, it's just so. And I say that from like family experience, where they bought this very, very, very nice motorhome and then traded it in for a car at some point. Like, a motorhome that could have bought you a house now, or at least put a huge down payment on one. And we're talking, that's how much they bought it for back then.
Yeah.
Compared to now. The money they paid back then could have bought a house or a huge down payment now. So, and then they get a car for it. So motorhomes, snowmobiles, cabins, yachts, planes.
See, now Luke's got a good idea. He said one of the cheapest hobbies can be home drinking on the porch.
Yep.
I would agree with that. You may not see a lot of things. You may not get out very much, but at the same time, it's a cheaper hobby than RVing and snowmobiling and all that other shit that you're going to spend a fortune on. You might as well make alcohol.
Yeah. That's a good thing. That's a good thing too, Bull Rush. Having a motorhome, you can travel to different destinations. So your availability of your pool of available women is always different, which is kind of cool.
Well, yeah. Well, that's. I'm glad you brought that up, Vince, because I was part of a podcast here with a guy. He put out the podcast on Saturday. He's a guy he identifies with the Black Pill community, and he and I did an interview, and it was specifically about height, because he's the same height I am. Okay, he's 5'4". And we had about an hour and change talk about it. And it was a pretty good interview. He's a good guy. One of the things that what you just brought up, especially where Bull Rush brought it up too, about, here's an advantage of if you do live in like a motorhome or an RV or something of that nature. He was talking about the lack of success with women, obviously. And he lives in a different part of the world. And so I don't know what the odds of, the ratio of men to women is in his area. I have no idea. I know he doesn't live in the United States. I know that much. And so, but to use a comparison, if the guy lived in, say, Alaska, yeah, you're looking like 5-to-1 odds, 5 men for every woman type of thing. That's shitty odds. Same with like Wyoming. Aaron Clary talks about Wyoming, and it's like, why do you keep going to Wyoming, Aaron? There's nothing in Wyoming, and the ratio of men to women, there's more men than there are women in Wyoming. So the odds are against you. You have more competition. The women have their pick. And so women can be absolutely disgusting and actually get some pretty top shelf kind of guys.
Welcome.
Because they are the minority. So they have the pick of the litter. They can choose, and women are always going to go up. They're always going to go for the best they can get. And so you guys are bringing up a good point, which, to me is if your odds are sucking with women, first and foremost, you got to take a look at yourself, and not just, your genetics, your height, all that kind of stuff. But What's your attitude? What's your approach? What do you think? What do you believe, for lack of a better word? What are you saying when you go out to talk to women? Are you the creepy guy? Are you fawning and being the beta orbiter with her? What are you doing? But then if you're really actually in pretty good shape and your game's fairly tight and you know it and you've had some success and now it's kind of dried up, number one, it's a numbers game. But number two, if it's really bad, you might want to look at the demographics of where you live. And if there are more men than women, which is the case in some areas, it might take a minute, but you might want to save up your money or whatever and move to somewhere where the ratio is better. And then go somewhere else. That's, it may not be something you can just up and do right then and there or with it on a whim. But ultimately, if you live in an area, even if it's a small town where, for whatever reason, that's where all the guys live and the women are 100 miles away, maybe you need to move closer to where the women are. And that's something to keep in mind. And being a minimalist living in an RV kind of thing, he's got an advantage right there. He can pull stakes pretty much whenever and go somewhere else. And hey, he's a new guy. He's the outsider, the foreigner, whatever. He doesn't have a past anymore. And he can go to where there's greener pastures, so to speak, that there's more women around and more available women at that as well. So.
True.
Juan, Nick Shoelander. Holy shit, we're bringing in some guys here.
Hey, Juan. Nick.
All we need now is Atham, and my two favorite rooftop Mexicans will be here. So we're doing good.
Rooftop Mexicans.
Right. Instead of rooftop Koreans, I got rooftop Mexicans, man. The guys here in my neighborhood, they're conservative. They're like, oh, the joggers want to jog in our neighborhood. Somebody's getting hurt. So
somebody's going to jail.
Pretty much, and that's how I look at Atham and I look at Juan. It's like, oh yeah, these guys are conservative, man. They're my rooftop Mexicans in the chat. So yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how much that's going to play out I was chatting with a buddy today about all this stuff, and it's really going to just be, I don't know. I was going to say something that I said, I don't know. I think it's going to be to the extent that, when they go into the burbs, the suburbia, how people are going to take that. Because it's always been, they're doing this stuff in these big cities, right?
Yeah. Well, even Salt Lake, which is a moderately sized city.
Right. But they don't go they tried to. So they went from Seattle. They went into downtown Bellevue, my hometown, which is on the other side of a lake. And then they started kind of scoping out suburbia and Bellevue. Well, those guys were all closing off their neighborhoods.
Yeah. They met resistance when they went that direction.
Yeah, because it's like, guys, you can blow up and destroy corporate America's downtown, do whatever you want, but you come into our neighborhoods, and also when they see the police kneeling or sniveling like a little bitch, and they're like, yeah, these people are not going to come protect us.
No.
Okay? And then they say, well, they might arrest you. Well, if they're going to arrest you for defending your own neighborhood, then it's like we've reached the point where it's like, it's time for what's that word? Bugaboo?
Boogaloo. Yeah, it's time for the bug.
I'm trying to understand this word. Like, where did it come from?
I couldn't get into the origins of it. Bullrush might know more about the origin of it. And there's definitely other guys that I follow on Twitter and whatnot that are a lot more dialed in when it comes to the definition and the origin of Boogaloo. But I know what it is and I know what it's about. And that's, I'm seeing guys talking, on Twitter about it. And like I said, I've talked to some of my neighbors and like I said, they're rooftop Mexicans, man. They're ready to bug. They're ready to, hey, the joggers want to come jog in our neighborhood. Somebody's getting lit up. And so it's like,
chainsaw? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw the chainsaw guy. That was good.
Yeah. He was arrested. It's funny because the protesters were there protesting police, and then he shows up and like, oh, call the police. Like,
exactly.
What?
Like, no, you don't get to have it both ways. You want to say fuck the police, then you stand on your own.
Pick one.
Okay, this is why the whole disband the police thing is such a joke. These people who are saying that are the first people, like the Karens, the first people to call the police on anybody for any reason, right? Other human beings. So, and then also, there's a lot of people who don't do stuff. I don't know how aware other people are of this, but I know a lot of friends, people I know, where they would do things if the police were not around. That people who are saying disband the police would not like, right? If there was no police, you're going to see militias just popping up, and they're going to essentially just start enforcing their will in a town. What are you going to do? Or in a neighborhood, you're going to have the mafia come back. Like the 5 families of New York are just sitting there like, please defund the police, please deband the, like get rid of it. Then we can move back in and make Little Italy great again. You know what I mean?
And it's not even moved back in. They're already there. It's just we're just going to come out of the shadows now.
Well,
that's all that is.
Are they going to go all the way with it? I mean, you say disband the police and then set up another police force that's just, you're just going to trade one out? I mean, what are you going to do for law enforcement? What's your plan? What is their plan?
Somalia 2.0 is what will happen. It's going to be bands of roving gangs that will protect their neighborhoods for a price.
Yeah.
That's what it'll devolve to. And then they will go around and extort the neighbors. Hey, you want us to protect you from the joggers? Pay us. Except it's the joggers. That criminal, that band of brothers will turn around and end up being the thing that they thought was going to save them from themselves will become their own downfall. And that's where I'm saying it'll turn into Somalia 2.0. It'll be warlords in the neighborhoods protecting them, but you're paying them whether you want to or not. Otherwise, your house gets burned. That's what it'll do. It's gonna create opportunism and corruption on a level that these whiners have never seen before.
Well, that doesn't exist inside of a vacuum because the federal government, in one way, shape, or form, will step in, and that's what I'm asking. What is the plan? Because what you're saying is something that'll happen in the interim. Yeah. But that won't last very long.
Oh, no. And it'll be the very people saying defund the police that will be screaming for protection. And that's when it's, okay, so you want to get rid of the cops, but now we're bringing in the military. So have fun with that. Only this time, the military aren't going to be walking around with either weapons with no magazines or, no weapons at all, just kind of wandering around. It's like, no, they're going to be showing up and they're not going to be using rubber bullets. That's what it'll turn to.
Yeah. No, you are correct, Boris. Historically, that's what happened. But the modern mindset, the modern cultural mindset, is not prepared for that. Maybe in the interim, but like I said, the federal government's not going to go for that. That's just not going to happen.
So I have a theory. So they're calling about disbanding the police right now, right? So the idea is you get rid of the police. The right guy gets elected into office in November, and then the military is brought in and starts enforcing military martial law throughout the country.
They could do that, yeah.
Well, weren't they protesting that just now? Yeah, they were also saying stay inside or you're going to infect people, and then they turned around and said we need people to march out in the streets and be in close proximity because racism is a public health issue. Like these people, guys, you can't listen to what they say and take it seriously.
It's a complete joke now.
They will condemn something one day and then approve of it the other, depending on who's in charge. So yes, they would. It is not a coincidence that General Mathis sent out that letter the same day Obama was giving that speech on all this stuff. Like there's coordination going on this. Now, I'm not saying that this is necessarily going to happen because one of the problems is if you disband the police, you still have the local sheriffs and county sheriffs. And the other thing is, okay, great, you send the military. There is no way the military, first of all, you would be setting up this nation for a perfect time for an invasion. Mm-hmm. You're going to use the entire military to occupy all 50 states. If you send them to the cities, okay, great. Those cities are already democratically controlled. Like I'm not sure what the intent of that is. Okay, you're going to put them out in the rural areas where there's still county sheriffs and everybody owns guns and grows their own food. That sounds like a bang up plan. And meanwhile,
that's going to go over real well.
And you don't think Russia and China are watching this and thinking this is the time to start meddling in their politics?
Well, they've already been meddling in our politics. I mean, if they're not in some way, shape, or form involved somehow, they're definitely fucking laughing at us, waiting for the next opportunity.
The Chinese are probably just like,
fuck.
We don't have to do anything.
Well, that's the beauty of it too. It's like there's no real need to like physically invade and waste any of their resources when they can do it from within, and that's what you do.
I'd just be watching and be like, it's like the Soviet Union fell apart for less.
Oh shit!
Not like they're going to go to street anarchy. They won't, not necessarily, but there's like we have to understand these people are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, there's that. What?
They don't like when Lenin got into power. We were just talking about this yesterday with Vince. When Lenin got into power, he tried to implement pure communism. It fell apart
very quickly.
Yeah. So these people are it's an ideology that relies on ordinary people enabling them, but it would go away tomorrow if everybody stopped playing by the game. Now it's not going to happen, but as I was telling one of my neighbors who's a little bit more, she's not apocalyptic and she's not end times, but she was kind of like, this kind of feels like the end times. I go, look, one world government is not going to be implemented by people who can't even run a freaking city, right? Like if you're a competent tyrant, you actually run a good city, right? Like nobody riots because they're like look at the Minnesota mayor, Minneapolis mayor. You're telling me that guy's part of some grand like this guy actually has a plan?
No, his plan is to bend over and take it right straight in the ass. That's all his plan is.
Yeah,
and dance in the street.
Yeah, and cry at gravesides for virtue signaling.
It's unbelievable.
I'm just glad he's not my mayor. That's all I can say. It's like, oh, wow.
Seriously.
I don't think I've ever seen a public official virtue signal and suck cock so hard in my life. It's just like, this cannot be real. But yeah, it is. It's real. It's just like, I'm so glad I don't live there. I'm so glad. It's like, well, I can say shit about Utah. I can say shit about Salt Lake City's mayor, but at least I can say, well, my mayor is not that mayor. At least my mayor is not sucking dick and virtue signaling like that. In fact, the mayors around here, the local government around here, they're taking more of a hardline stance because the joggers did their thing last week and kind of got it out of their system. And now it's like, no, we're not fucking around anymore, boys and girls. You want to fuck around and bad things will happen. And you're not going to be able to scream about it on social media. They're taking a much harder stance on it.
And here's the other thing. The moment you go into suburbia, guys, this is where I think they understand this. The moment you start doing something in suburbia and you start arresting people in suburbia for defending their own neighborhoods, it's like it's almost like it's poking the bear. They're poking a bear to see how much they can get away with before the bear just devours them. They're like a dog barking at a bear. That bear at any moment could turn around and just devour them in 5 seconds.
Yep.
Like that's kind of what really amazes me. Where if I was in the other seat, I'd be like, let's walk around the bear. Let's not offend the bear. Let's do everything possible to not wake the bear up. Like the whole after Pearl Harbor, one of the admirals said, I think all we did was just awaken a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
And piss him off.
That's it.
All we did.
Yeah. As they were on their way back to Japan and everyone was celebrating, hey, you did a great military victory. And I think he actually said it was, we just awoke the dragon is all we did.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Yeah. All we did is woke the sleeping giant. You know, he wasn't happy about it. He's like, now all hell's going to come at us now. And look what happened. It did. This is no different. That's why this is a social experiment. It is poking the bear. It's to see how far can we go, which is why it's happening in your liberal cities and it's not happening in suburbia. Because if it was happening in suburbia where people live, it would end a lot more violently. It wouldn't just end in a bunch of arrests and rubber bullets. There'd be bodies in the street. And that's just because people are going to defend their homes. And so that's where it's like, they're still just testing. This isn't for real yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've made this argument and I did not come up with this analogy. So I don't know who did it, but they said people in suburbia, their emotions are like, their psychological state is like a light switch. They go from on to off. If you start something and you flip that switch in their head, they're going to go on full. It's on forming militias, barricading their streets. They will turn on the police. They'll basically just turn into absolute. You think you have it bad now. Wait until these people are like, yeah, the black flag gets risen. We're not taking any prisoners. We don't care. And then you try and reason with those people. It's like, oh, no, they're not. They're not. No. Anybody who causes trouble. People don't in San Francisco, they had a lot of chaos going on, and they formed vigilante groups. And those vigilante groups just completely ended crime in San Francisco. There was a book 2 years before the mass that talked about that. It was even referenced in the film The Enforcer with Clint Eastwood, where these vigilante groups just would go out and kill bad guys, kill criminals. I'm not saying that they were the greatest people on the planet, but like you leave that as a last resort of moral people, they're going to take it. They will take it every time.
Yep.
So
survival is what it ultimately will come down to. If it's in the cities happening, and like I said, government buildings are being attacked, and some businesses, not saying it's a good thing, but that's not your house. That may be where you work, but it's not where you live. And when it comes to your home, all bets are off at that point. Then it's, hey, this is my survival now. And I don't care about the police, if they're coming or not, if they arrest me or not. It doesn't matter at that point. At that point, all bets are off. And the joggers, if they had little to no resistance in the city, they're going to find a different type of animal coming out to the suburbs. They really are. They're going to find something totally different waiting for them. At least here they are anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned before, what's happening is, let me back it up. A lot of people may or may not know that all federal agencies have a SWAT team. Everything from U.S. Marshals to the Bureau of Prisons, all the way down to the Bureau of Land Management and the Department of Education. They have SWAT teams. So basically what Trump did was all these blue states that are telling their police to stand down and basically act like pussies and let rioters go with their district attorney saying, oh, we're going to let them go. Well, now because they are rioting and looting, it's a federal matter. So what he does is, while everyone is concerned with Trump bringing in the military, which he did, but that was a smokescreen. So he's like, look over here, look over here, but over here, this side, look, what am I doing? Military, oh my God, bayonets in the street. No. He was fooling everybody. He had all these agencies round up these fucktards. It was brilliant, a brilliant chess move. So we have anyone, you see all these things now that are being, the mayors and everyone, the local, they're letting the people, it fucking doesn't matter. It's a federal crime. It's out of their jurisdiction. Doesn't matter if you let them go. They're going to get picked up, and they are getting picked up. So don't worry about it. That's being taken care of.
Oh yeah, they caught the guy that was one of the major instigators who flipped the Salt Lake City cop car and burned it. They've already got him. He's looking at 15 years in prison type of thing.
And for rioting and looting, it's a minimum of 5 years.
Yep.
So they can go fuck themselves. Even the IRS. has a SWAT team. Every federal agency. I mean, that should also scare you as well. But in this instance, it's very well played. So nobody has to worry about that shit. And then you had those Antifa. Oh, let's go storm the White House.
Yeah, how's that working out for you, bud? I'd like to see them actually try that one. That would be interesting. It's like, oh, go for it, see what happens. There's not going to be rubber bullets coming at you. I can tell you that. And the Secret Service aren't going to stand down. So have fun.
They don't understand this, that what they see as weakness, like, oh, Trump's hiding in the White House and he's all that stuff. He was inviting them to try to actually go storm the White House. It's called what is it called, where William the Conqueror did this during the Battle of Hastings. He would attack the Anglo-Saxon shield wall, and then he would withdraw.
Retreat real fast. Yeah, it's almost like he was showing weakness. Like, oh, we could take these assholes.
And then they would charge down, and then the cavalry would go back and just mow them down, right?
Yeah.
And so this is the same thing where you pull back far enough to where they extend themselves into a position where I think in this instance, it's more of a political thing. When you've got people who are trying to break into the White House, literally, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Well, Juan, you know what I say to that, Juan? Why weren't they doing that from the beginning, helping black communities?
It's all virtue signaling. I'm telling you,
this is just the dumbest fucking shit. I mean, you can see through this shit like used Neutrogena. It's like they're like the left is like these little retarded kids running around doing stuff, and then you have the hardcore Republican fuckers, just like autistic kids. It's like what? It's and then the media in the middle, and all they're trying, they don't even report news anymore. All it is virtue signaling, and them. You know what? And these talking heads, who voted these assholes in? A part of these corporations, they're going to tell you what they think you should fucking know. No, go fuck yourself. They're worthless. They're fucking completely fucking worthless.
My generation has now come into power in the newsroom, like the New York Times, the Atlantic, all these other places. But the thing is, first of all, these dumbasses don't realize that their New York Times newspaper took out a 14% interest loan from a Mexican millionaire. A 14% interest loan.
Yep.
And so they basically paid on a credit card as well.
And it was $230
the department store credit card, not even a legitimate one.
No shit. 14%.
Yeah, so
My God.
Good luck with that. And then Jeff Bezos has his Washington Post. What's going to happen is it's more of, gosh, where were we at? Like, I'm trying to think of trying to untangle. The old media is dying, but you know what? I'm actually not so sure that newspapers are dead in the long run. I don't necessarily think that that's true.
Why is that? What's your take?
It's a hunch. And one of them is anything online can be made up.
Oh yeah, and we're seeing that that's usually the case.
Well, but I'm thinking
a lot of the bullshit online to me is even more suspect than anything in the print media type of thing. Not that ain't suspect, but
I'm thinking of something else. Doc Roden has talked about this a little bit too, but we're talking about how people's tweets can be fabricated, people's stuff that articles by newspapers can be fabricated. They won't send you a link. They'll just show you a picture of whatever. Right. And also there's power. I wrote my book, The Stringers, that you can find on Amazon. Part of the reason they go offline, they go to print, is because government censorship is all about the online now.
Right.
You got Google, all these other, Facebook. And
hence why buy your books in paper, in hardback format, basically, or paperback, because you're right. You can have them pulled, they can be altered, whatever.
Right. And so a newspaper that is print only has power, because that's a lot harder to censor because it's all direct distribution. They can't do an algorithm to screw with your ability to view stories or post them on social media or share them. I'm not saying that it's going to happen exactly that way, but I think that the internet, and I wrote that article for Masculine Geek that you can go read for a new internet. The internet early on was an extension of the real life. Well, now real life is an extension of online, because so much communication is now online. I'm wondering if at some point we are going to go back to either very close communication online, where you go to a handful of sites.
Yep, that's coming. The dark forest theory, that's coming.
Yeah. I also think that at some point people are going to say, you know what, we want to have physical stuff. We want to have our physical news delivered to us. We want to have things that we can look at and know for ourselves, because so much of what is online will be able to be fabricated, and so much disinformation that people are going to say, look, we don't have the time to figure that out. We want to see a newspaper that, provides some of that stuff. But the problem is that was never going to happen with the old guard and old newspapers. It's going to be a new newspaper. It's entirely new. It's not tied to the old way of doing things. It's going to come up with something different. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. And I don't even know if it's going to be like that. I'm just saying we are going to see a shift, perhaps after 20 years, 30 years of people being online. We could see a lot of people start shifting back to where they're offline for the most part. Or they do something else. That they're not, or there's just a new internet. They're not part of the rest of the internet. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's the media doesn't help. Someone made mention of something that they're just kind of like fanning the flames of fear. I mean, those are the two extremes. The media does one of two things. Sometimes they mix. There's a crossover, but you're going to get hedonistic, feel good, be happy bullshit, or you're going to get fear. They try to keep the populace in these two extremes if they can. Right now, it's a shit ton of fear.
Yep. Well, and it's funny, JD brought it up, and I mentioned it, the dark forest theory. Have you ever heard of that, Vince?
No, that's new. What's that?
Well, it is, but it isn't. There was a guy, and I forget the author's name. Somebody, Atham, look it up. But a guy wrote a story, and in it, he talked about this thing called the dark forest. And basically, it had to do, the story was a sci-fi type of story where we were broadcasting, putting out radio signals and all that like we do and like we have to try to communicate with other life on other worlds. And yet we never heard anything. And so in a lot of our own thoughts, we kind of figured, well, maybe there's nothing out there. When in reality, they are out there, they are listening, but they're not broadcasting back, because like in a forest, most animals are either predators or they're prey. And if you make a lot of noise, you announce where you're at, a lot of times the other animals will probably try to kill you first.
You're prey at that point, yeah.
Yeah, they'll try to kill you because they don't want to be killed. And so they'll try to get you first. And that's kind of what the dark forest theory is that it's, basically kill or be killed. And so everybody's hiding in the dark, sneaking around quietly, trying to avoid each other. And when you take it into what we're already seeing and have been for a while, I know somebody was bringing it up, talking about like a mass exodus of Twitter, and they were asking, where do you think it's all going to go? And that's where I said, well, it's either going to go back to kind of like old school private forums, or maybe something similar to like Telegram. And then I did my poll about what would you pay? And that was something that it was a test to get an idea of what would people pay. Because while we are in an online world and, comparing my idea to say a bar, which, Carl from Black Label brought it up, and he was like, you're basically talking about a bar, bro. And I respect him, but at the same time, it's like, well, you're actually comparing apples and oranges here, though, Carl. What I'm talking about has the kind of the feel of a bar, but a bar is a physical space. And
it's like it's like when the internet first came out, you're on message boards.
Right. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
And with a real bar, you have consequences. You have a bar of entry. You have to be 21, or you have to have some kind of ID to get into a bar. And then if you act like a fool, the bar can have you arrested. The bar can kick you out. The bouncers can use your head to open the door to send you out on your ass. And you can get 86th, where now you can never go back. And if that bar is the only bar in a 50-mile radius, well, all of your socializing opportunities just dried up. Okay. Online, you don't have those kind of consequences, which is why we have the idiocy we have. But what I think you're going to end up seeing, because we've already started it, is there are people like a lot of these guys in the chat. They want to have discussions. They want to be able to debate things, discuss things, say what they want, and know that they're not going to get attacked just for having a different point of view. That I can agree to disagree with any one of these guys in the chat, that I may not agree with them. I may say, you know what, dude, no, I don't agree. But that doesn't mean I'm going to spurg out, dox them, and hate them, and unfollow them, and block them, and all that because my feelings got hurt. No, we can still respect each other. And we can actually have a dialogue. We might say, look, you're being an idiot, you dumb fucker. We may say things like that, but you don't take it personal and get all butthurt over it. Yeah. And I think a lot of guys, that's what they want. They want to be able to have that dialogue. They want to be able to converse. They want to be able to let their hair down and know that they're not going to have a bunch of people shouting them down because you said something that is not the narrative. They want to be able to have a discussion like friends do, where most of my friends, we don't see eye to eye on everything. There's things that I'm rolling my eyes, they're rolling theirs, but I still like them. I just don't agree with them on everything. But we want to have that. And in my opinion, the only way you're going to get that, unfortunately, the easiest way you're going to get that is you're going to have to put up a paywall. And you're not going to just charge $5 a month type of thing, because spurgs and retards will fork over $5 to infiltrate. No, You're going to have to charge more. But then when people go, what am I getting for my $50 a month? Well, gee, you're getting the ability to say what you want. No one's going to dox you. No one's going to come after you. We can have rational discussions. We can have...
You have more of a direct line to us as well if we were to do something like that.
Right. But it's the idea that it's like being in a members only club. Yep. There are rules. There are things that have to go into effect. And a lot of your, oh, well, I could get it for free, guys. Those are the assholes. I don't want to deal with those dickheads. They're just as bad as the spurgs on the left. It's like, you don't want to deal with morons that they'll fail the beer test. It's like, I wouldn't want to sit down in real life with you and drink a beer because you're an idiot. And so, but I know there's a lot of guys out there that are willing to pay money to be able to have a fucking conversation. It's sad. I don't like that that's the way it's going, but that's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else is going to make that more of a reality for us, and to our benefit, I'll add, is that it's going to be difficult for people to even go to a bar anymore in a good area. Like the whole environment, like think about it. People go, you can get a beer and just drink at home, or you can go to a bar, but bars are expensive.
Yeah.
You got to pay. And yeah, everybody, some bars will have a cute bartender, but you're not getting her. She gets hit on all the time. It just ain't happening. Right.
Right.
Yeah. You have to not only be a complete, we don't have to get into that. Yeah. You also have to drive there. You got to deal with just other stuff. I just think that we don't have to deal with the infrastructure.
Look at Chesties as well. Look at Chess comment too, Vince.
Oh. Where's that?
Scroll up.
What, the red meat?
Yeah. I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah. I know exactly what he's talking about. And that to me right there, what Chess just said, that I would pay money just so I don't have to fucking deal with that bullshit right there.
Well, that's it. I mean, you provide value and you make people pay for it, because then they are going to value that.
Well, yeah,
Right.
and like I said, and when you enforce a code, basically, you have a bar of entry. That bar, unfortunately, being, hey, it's going to cost you money.
What's what?
Yeah.
The way it goes.
Yeah, Boswell and Samuel Johnson over in England, when they had their supper club and their philosophy club, all the members had to vote. Like, say they were like, all right, well, I'm going to vouch for this person. This person would like to join, and they would meet them, and then he would go away, and then they would all, like, even if one person said no, they had to abide by that.
Yeah.
And it kept out spurgs and retards.
Quintus Curtius did a great podcast. Johnson ended up opening up another club when he was older, and he came up with all these rules. But one of them was, you got to spend so much money, right? Like, the moment you say you got to spend even like $3, you immediately eliminate 80% of the spurgs.
No. I'll disagree with you there, TJ.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got to be more than $3.
Yeah.
$3. I know plenty of spurgs that if they can get in and mouth off, even if they got booted, it's worth their $3.
Yeah,
no,
and they would just join for like a
them,
month with $3 and then say some shit and then go away.
But if you told them it's $30, now we're getting somewhere. That it's like, I don't know very many spurgs that would want to drop $30 so that they can lip off and act like a retard.
Yeah, I just think that. Well, so I'm going to throw out a theory here. I think that what's going to, in some cases, not all cases, and in some forums, not all forums, some forums will be, you get to go in and listen into what seem like private conversations by guys who they have their real names, you know who they are, their authenticity has been vouched for. I wrote an essay about this. Authenticity is the future coin of the realm. And other people can listen into them and listen to them talk, and you're paying to listen to it while you're having a drink, but you don't get to like inject yourself into the conversation. Now, there may be places for you to be able to do that, but I think for a lot of men, they don't necessarily want to do that. They like their anonymity. They like just being able to listen, and it's and we're going to get to the point also where having some of these conversations on public social media is how people get, like, social media for me, I see it as, it's a way for people to like find a way to get someone else fired or stalked, or
that's the dark force coming up here.
Yeah, and not only that, and we mentioned this before, you kind of make a joke about, make mental asylums great again, but it's given a voice to a lot of mentally
retards.
A lot of mentally ill people, and unfortunately, these people are just like, they have like fucking this like verbal Tourette's where there's they're like these, racist, racist. They're like these like retarded parrots. Racist, wear your mask, racist. Exactly, fucking parrots. But that's what social media. That's what social media has devolved to. It's these parrot Karens and their male counterparts. And since the cat's kind of out of the bag, we're kind of talking about this. Masculine Geek will be going to that format that Rob is talking about. We will have a forum. We will have a chat. We will have a massive Zoom once or twice a month. There will be other things as well. So that's coming very soon. We're just trying to work out certain frameworks and structures for that. But I already have that well underway, the domain name and everything. So keep an eye out for that. If you don't want to pay, don't pay.
Yeah, you don't have to. No one's forcing you to.
If you're going to complain about it,
do our free stuff just like we always
exactly. Yeah, we'll do the free stuff. We'll be doing these broadcasts, and if you want to complain about that, you can write the letter to 1234. Shove it up your ass. I don't care. We just don't want to hear it. So anyway, racist. So we'll be shutting.
Play my video.
Yeah, sure, we can do that. Go ahead, Rob. Just
play my video. Or you want me to dig it up? I'll dig it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll find it. Yeah, the one that you saw it.
Yeah,
the one saying, "Hey, anyone of technical proficiency?" And it's like, I got you, Chest. I got you, buddy. I can do this. And it took me like seriously like 30 seconds to whip the thing up. So let me find it here because it was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm sure Chest got a chuckle out of it. So
Oh yeah, and then when we're done, I'll play another one it's pretty funny. It's kind of goes along with people just spurging out over everything. But we'll do yours first.
all right.
Yours is pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, it is a pretty good one. I'm happy with it.
The
All right.
Tempest, it's 1, 2, 3, shove it up your ass avenue. Anywhere USA.
Okay, let's see here. Got to share screen, share audio, because the audio is a big part of it. All right, here we go.
All right. Let me make that.
What is this? Am I prepared for this?
Yeah, you're prepared, TJ.
It's just the end music to the old Hulk, the Bill Bixby Hulk outro music. It's a complete walk of shame. You know, if they said bend over, we're going to shove this big black dildo up your ass, he would have done it.
Yep.
Look at he's dressed like some.
He's dressed like a 12-year-old kid.
He's dressed like the 12-year-old kid that he.
Man should have dressed up as a suit and said, "Suck a dick." Not doing that. And get back to work, for fuck's sake.
Get a job, hippie.
That's great.
Yes, you take a bath, hippie. I feel like I'm watching a soap opera.
All right. That was pretty funny.
Good
God.
time.
Here, I'll share this one out. This is this is just pretty funny too. That was great, Rob. Good job on that.
You're welcome. I thought I had fun doing that. Like I said, I just jump on Twitter and like literally the first thing I see is Chest saying, "Hey, can someone do this?"
Right.
And that's where I'm like, I'm your Huckleberry.
Absolutely.
What's next, Godzilla?
Is he talking? I can't hear him.
Oh wait, I forgot the.
Forgot to share the audio.
I did,
talking
yeah.
Try
Real
again.
God
Boomer.
damn it. Boomer moment. Boomer moment. See? Oh. Let's go over here. Stop screen. Share screen. And you know what? They make the share audio is just like real small at the bottom of the.
Yeah, it's a
fucking
little tiny
screen.
box. So you got to pay attention for it.
You
Otherwise,
really do. If you're kind of moving fast. All right, so there we go.
Oh my God! There's an asteroid coming! Oh my God. I just heard on the news just now that an asteroid is on its way to the Earth. It's going to hit the Earth at 20,000 miles an hour. It's the size of the Empire State Building. When is it going to hit? Where is it going to hit? Doesn't matter where it hits. When it hits, it's going to be catastrophic. I know, girl. I know. Oh my God.
What is this?
How do I prepare for an asteroid? We need toilet paper? I got it. I'll get the pens because I'll be shitting my pants. Where's an asteroid? Can't believe an asteroid's coming. What do I do? How do I prepare for an asteroid? I'm going to run this way. What's that? Oh my God. The protesters. The protesters. Well, if they're looters. I'll run back this way. I don't know which way to go. There's an asteroid coming. Why isn't everybody out? There's an asteroid coming. I'll go to my car. I'll go in my car and I'll drive to the mountains. That's it. I'll drive to the mountains. Wait a minute. I can't because there's still viruses in my car. I didn't clean the car because I went to the store. I didn't clean the car. It's a petri dish for germ. Where's my mask? I don't have a mask. There's an asteroid coming. Where do I go? What do I do? Oh my God! There's an asteroid coming. Oh God! Calm down, Vic. I know, girl. I know. It'll be all right. I know. I'll go in my shed. That's what I'll do. I'll go in my shed. I'll be safe in here. Yeah. Wait a minute. How's this gonna protect me from an asteroid? Oh my God! I can't believe this. With all the shit that's going on. What about the murder hornets? I got it. I'm ready for them too.
The murder hornets.
What about the murder hornets? There's an asteroid coming.
No shit. That's pretty much how it is too. Fuck,
Yeah.
everyone's all up in arms over nothing.
Yeah.
Oh God. Ah.
Oh, fuck. You want to do your spiel, Rob?
Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
that time, I guess.
Yeah.
Guys, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like. It sends tingles to YouTube's vagina. It gets the signal further out there, and share this with someone that you think would benefit from it. And now back to you, Vince.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, Amos? The Yellowstone is not doing shit. I just checked on that one too with the National Geological Society or whatever it is. They're the ones that monitor that thing. It is a green light. It's the same old, same old. The Yellowstone ain't doing shit right now either. Nothing more than it always has done. So no, Yellowstone's not set to go off. So we can let that one go. It's like it's almost like I think guys want that one to happen because that one keeps coming up, and it's like, guys, just go to the National Geological Survey site. They monitor that shit, and everything's fine. It's empirical data. This isn't about your feels and about the narrative. You can go check it for yourself, and it's fine. So we can let that one go. It's fine.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Well, if it does go off, Amos, it'll be worse than asteroids. So it really will.
Don't forget your mask.
Yeah, don't forget your mask. Go in your shed. Get your can of Raid. That way, when the murder hornets come, you got them handled. Damn it, Nick. You're going to learn sometime, young bucko. I'm telling you what.
Right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Meh. That's right. Eat your cornflakes, kids. Eat your cornflakes. Retain your semen because your testosterone drops and it's bad to jerk off. We're back to that again. So just don't.
Don't touch yourself. You don't know where you've been.
That's right. You don't know where you've been. You probably have a dirty penis.
Mhm.
So good God, wash your penis.
Wash your penis. wash that penis.
And make your bed.
That's right. Make your fucking bed. Wash your penis. Cut your hair.
Can someone give me $1 million for just saying that? Make your bed. Oh, pearls of wisdom.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was being literal and he wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the sentiment makes sense, and I'm sure he's not the first to say it. It's just like, take care of your shit at your house first before you go trying to change everyone
I remember
else.
I was talking to someone. He was like, what are some things he said? He said, make your bed. Your mom also told you to make your bed. So I don't recall you ever giving her money.
Yeah. The first thing you do when you wake up, you make your fucking bed.
I mean,
So
I
think
don't,
about
but I also don't have to take pills to stay sane.
You don't make
So-
your bed? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't have to.
That's true.
My bed makes itself.
Well, that's an amazing thing.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a very, very beautiful thing.
Rah. It's a motherfucking beautiful bridge. And it's going to be there. Stop hitting me with those negative waves.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's right.
Rob Kellogg says so.
He does.
I'm kind of tempted to watch Kelly's Heroes today.
You should.
I don't like those negative waves, man.
With the
You know
negative
what's-
waves, Moriarty.
I'm so thrown off by that film where you have Clint Eastwood being this like shameless kind of what would you call him? He's just out for himself.
Mhm.
And then you got Donald Sutherland, who's this like hippie in a World War II film.
Yeah, it's very incongruent. And you've got Don Rickles as the
Oh, and then of course you got what's his name? Terry Savalas or whatever.
Telly
laying down the-
Savalas.
Joey Savalas. Yeah.
We're gonna get some booze.
I want this place looking like a nightclub. We ain't got no booze.
We ain't got no
No
booze.
booze.
Well, we're gonna get some booze.
That's right.
We're gonna start showers so we can wash our cute little bodies.
Get some boon for you, Pachuco.
I
Well,
hear
guys,
one more running over to kill the general. Let's strangle that man with my
strangle
bare
that man with my bare hands. You're raping the nurses at the field hospital.
hands.
I'm gonna strangle the man with bare hands.
God.
Joey Savalas. See if we can get that specific. Oh yeah, here you go. Think. Let's make sure I. You dirty horse. Okay.
I hear any more threats against Captain Maitland's life. I hear any more wild talk. Going down to headquarters and killing the general, or raping the nurses at the field hospital, or to strangle a guy with my bare hands. You understand that? Now all good things come to those who wait. Wait on here. Now we, cowboy.
You can bet your boots on that, partner.
Sergeant, partner.
Right, Sarge.
All right.
Go.
Yeah.
I think I've got the crabs.
We're gonna boil our laundry. We're gonna set up a little shower area so we can wash our cute little bodies. Shut up.
Shut up.
Hey, little wine, women, and song, a little chiquita for you, Pachuco, okay? It's gonna take a little time to get organized, but I want that farmhouse to look like a nightclub. Little Joe, I want you to set up a bar.
We ain't got no booze.
We ain't got no booze. Well, we're gonna get some booze. I'm gonna go down to Potato, see if I can lay my hands on some dirty movies. And when I come back, I want that farmhouse not only clean, but completely decorated. Do you understand that? All right, Corporal, follow out. Let's get moving.
There it is.
That's right.
Yeah, I
You
don't
have
know
a
if people heard it for a minute there. I had to mute the mic and see what the hell was going on. The neighbors' car alarms were going off.
Really?
And, yeah, and for number one, I didn't know if it was my car alarm going off.
Oh shit.
So I had to go and see like, is the boogaloo starting here? Am I gonna start hearing AR-15 rifle fire going on in the neighborhood? I had to go see what the hell was going on, and yeah, there was nothing going on other than the neighbor's car alarm was going off for whatever reason. So there was no joggers jogging, so all's good here. So
Cool.
hey TJ, are we getting a Stringers 4 anytime soon?
Yeah, when you guys read all 3 that are out and leave a freaking review.
Honestly.
Ooh, there we go. There you go, Nick. There's your answer.
Yep. Go leave a fucking review.
Yeah, read the books, leave a review. If I get enough, I'll tell you what, if I get 10 reviews, 10 on the 3 books, we'll see what we can do.
Well,
I gotta make sure there's market demand.
Well, yeah, you put them in a bundle and you offer a discount.
Yeah, well,
I'm like,
that's
it's funny. I don't know why Aaron hasn't thought of that. Put like a
the quarter part of him isn't getting through to the 3/4 part.
like apparently like some kind of like I don't know, like enjoy the decline a book bundle or something, just and have, or like the retirement bundle and have 3 books in it and then offered for a couple dollars less than you would if you bought them separately. Those kind of things actually work.
Yeah, they do.
And it needs.
Question for you guys there at MG. Any of you had any periods of your sleep schedule getting wacky due to the quarantine? Yes, Amos. But I've always had a wacky schedule anyway, but it's mine. I don't know why. I know it's part of it's the quarantine. It's the civil unrest. It's everything that's going on. I sleep much lighter when I do sleep, I tend to sleep like I've got insomnia. There's no doubt of that.
Hmm.
You know, there's times during the weekend, especially, that I'll go to bed 3-4 o'clock in the morning sometimes because I can't sleep. The only reason I can sleep during the week is because I am physically exhausted from my job by the time I get done. And even then it can be rough getting there. So yeah, my sleep schedule's all fucked up.
Nope. I mean, no more than usual. I mean, there's an undercurrent of unease just because of things that are happening, but yeah, not too bad.
What about you, TJ?
No, I mean, if I don't drink, I can wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and just go do whatever I want. But if I have a couple brewskis, I'll probably get up at like 7:30. So
It's like a sedative.
yeah, it's like a sedative or something like that. But my life hasn't really changed other than not going to the gym. It hasn't really changed a whole lot due to quarantine.
Yeah.
I mean, people can say, well, you know, they can say what they want about that, but it's like, I just found that there's not much to say to people, right? A lot of people are NPCs.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
So it's like, well, how much you need human interaction? Yeah, I need to interact with somebody who's not had a lobotomy. You know, like, so yeah, this interaction right here, we're chatting with each other. We've acknowledged each other's statements. We understand that we are responding to what the other person said, as opposed to people just like saying the exact same thing. I feel like I'm almost like Link in The Legend of Zelda, where you go up to somebody and they're going to say the exact same thing, no matter what you say to them. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, Skelton, NPC is non-player character, which is what most of society is.
Yeah, that's taken straight out of old school role playing games.
Yep.
NPC.
Yeah,
Not
they-
video games. Tabletop role playing games.
Sast, what happened on September 12th, 1999 that you have not slept in 21 years?
Or damn near.
Yeah,
He lost
holy
his teddy bear.
hell.
Is that what it was? He lost his teddy bear then?
Yeah.
His blanket got taken away. Sast
Yeah.
is actually Linus.
Yes, yes. If you get your blanket,
His whoopee.
his whoopee.
Yeah, there was a film back. God, I'm surprised you guys don't know it since you're all big fans of like older films. The Michael Keaton film that he got laid off and she went to work and he stayed home and raised the kids. Mr.
Oh,
Mom
Mr.
or
Mom.
something.
I've
Yeah,
never
and then-
seen that.
And the one kid
It's really
that was
weird.
in it, he had a younger son, I think, that had this blanket and it was called his whoopee.
Yep, the whoopee.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. And he lost it. I take it, right?
No, he didn't lose it. He ended up, Dad finally got it from him and burned it.
Ah, okay.
And the kid kind of had an existential crisis for a minute.
Gotcha.
Kind of like if we took away Aaron's cell phone and rum bottle.
Hmm.
We just told Aaron he had cancer again, you know.
Pull out the gay hand.
That's right.
Well, as long as he can call the girlfriend.
Well, yeah, so we would have to take away his cell phone or his ability to dial a phone number. Because I'll bet you he's got her number memorized, that out of all the numbers he has, that one he knows with or without his cell phone. Kidney
Indeed.
pain.
Kidney pain. Wow.
Yeah.
With all the rum drinking, that's quite
Well,
possible.
you know, and the fact that, you know, I had cancer, you guys. Stop being an asshole to me. I was dying of cancer.
He hasn't been very vocal on Twitter lately. I haven't seen too much come across the
Well,
feed.
he did all that hiking in Moab and in other places where he was doing that there for a week or so. I'll bet you he's sleeping it off now. He's got to do, you know, instead of a 4-hour nap, he's got to do a 12-hour nap.
He's got the back-to-back 4-hour naps.
Right.
So basically sleeping like a normal human being.
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking anyway. That's what I'm going to say it is. That or God, maybe, since I don't know if he's down in the Southern Command or if he's back home. If he's back home, he might be hiding in a ditch somewhere because, the protest.
We're dead in a ditch.
That's possible.
Your mom will, you're end up you're going to be dead in a ditch somewhere.
That could be, and he's not wearing clean underwear either.
That's right.
So that's a possibility. I like Nick. Nick's so positive when he thinks about other people because he's got his percentages there. 80% NPCs, 10 to 15% basically NPCs. So we're dealing with up to 95% of the population. Yeah, Nick, that's why I like you, Nick. You're an optimist.
Well, it's like George Carlin always said it, and he was talking about kids at the time, and everyone's like, "Oh, save the children, help the children." He's like, "Fuck the children. We have a child fetish in this country, and it's not healthy." He's like, "Kids are like any other group of people. There's a few winners and a whole lot of losers. There's a lot of loser kids out there. You just got to let them go, cut them loose." It's any group.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you get the first place prize goes to the winner, but we replaced it with the participation trophy. Everybody's a winner.
Yep. And then no one is.
I would almost flip the script with a woman who says that everyone's a winner. It's like, oh, so everyone gets to hook up with the cute girl. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, when you apply logic to any of these things, it just doesn't. They lose their mind. It's like the Yul Brenner robot and in the Westworld when it blew a head pipe.
I came up with something funny where she says everybody's a winner. If everybody was a winner, you would want to be sleeping with everybody.
Oh.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
Pretty much. Yep.
Oh, everybody was a winner. You just slept with all of them.
She probably has.
Everyone. Yeah.
Woo!
Greta Jean of Arc. No shit.
Indeed.
Good times. Good times.
Burn them all. Yeah, that would be a waste of good gasoline. Just have the army call in an air.
But no. To call in an airstrike, you got to get people involved. You got to have committee discussions. There's got to be a consensus. Gasoline is actually a lot cheaper. So, that is one thing I will agree with Sast on that. It's a lot cheaper. So the military strike would be a little more satisfying, but the bullshit you'd have to go through. Oh, there's TJ's train. So we know it's on time. So see, the world's okay, guys, because TJ's train's arriving. So we're good.
Yeah, we're run by Mussolini. The trains run on time.
There you go.
That's about the only thing that ran in that country. The fuck? Raw. Here, I'll show you something that's funny. It's happened in Philadelphia in Fishtown not too long ago. I may have tweeted about it, or may have shown you guys, but hang on. This is pretty fucking funny. No, wait. Did it again. God damn it.
Oops.
Fucking
Boomer
audio
Tech.
bullshit. Boomertech. Boomertech.com.
Head wide open, Plain and simple, we just don't live like this. They don't photo and everything. Photo me and him. We work on someone that can't defend themselves. A cop can't defend himself, so we're here. Anyone who wants to throw shit at a cop, or pick on a cop, pick one of us the fuck out, and we'll go around the corner and fight you one-on-one. So unless that, take that fucking faggot energy. Take that fucking faggot energy.
Take that fucking faggot energy and go somewhere else.
Where's Chainsaw Guy?
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
It would have been better had he done the Leatherface thing, though.
Oh, the
If he
That
had been
bitch up
wearing,
and held it
yeah,
up.
that would,
yeah,
yeah.
well, obviously wearing the mask would have been the cream, would have been the cherry on top. But if he'd have put that shit over his head and done that shit with it, that would have been the best. Man, instead of people kind of call the police and kind of backing away, they would have been running had he pulled that maneuver on him. Had he pulled a Leatherface on him, man, that would have been the shit there. I would have downloaded that. It's like, put that on repeat forever.
Yeah. Oh, shit. All right, it's been an hour and a half. I'm going to call it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us and having a little something different for Sunday evening. Joining us for this hour and a half. No police. Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, Jess. It's like they were protesting police, and then when shit went down, they started to call for them. Ridiculous. Anyway, everyone enjoy. We'll see you Wednesday. We have our rescheduled D&D game, live stream D&D game, so come check that out. In the meantime, keep the fires burning. Stay off social media for a good portion of your day.
God, no shit.
Go meditate, get outside, go live life rather than watching it and reacting to it on social media. Till Wednesday, gentlemen. Have a good night.